Quote, the face of the Statue of Liberty comes up in my feed. I think it's called The Ancient View, but there it is. Isabella Boyer. Her life is like an exciting novel. She was born in Paris, the daughter of an African pastry chef and an English mother. Isabella had a special beauty, and at age 20 she married Isaac Singer, the sewing machine maker, who was 50. After Singer's death, Isabella became the richest woman in the country. Get this is unreal. It is not surprising that she was chosen as the model of the Statue of Liberty, as she embodied the American dream. Widowed, Isabella travels the world and married the Dutch violinist Victor Robstedt, becoming a countess. He became a prominent figure in America and Europe and met the French sculptor Frédéric Bartholdi at a world event. Bartholdi, impressed by her beauty and history, used her face as a model for the Statue of Liberty. Isabella married a third time and died in Paris in 1904 at 62, but her face lives on in the iconic statue in New York, symbolizing freedom and American pride. So, end quote. So, the embodied American dream, symbolizing freedom and American pride, is born beautiful and married well. Sounds about right. It's easy to coin a phrase like axis of evil. Look who coined it. Somebody's speechwriter. Well, now they are over there and we are over here. We must be the axis of goodness. Makes sense? And this is very important to us. Just trying to understand, because I confess I do not understand. Belonging to a community of the good and virtuous just never entered my mind ever. Thinking there was this community and that it was in any way exclusive to this or that belief. It will be difficult to identify the desire to belong to this community, since those who are in its thrall have obviously not thought it through. The closest thing I can get to it is that while going from age to age, maybe the 7 ages, we are assailed with all kinds of imaginings and fears and hungers, and it desires each age a strange new world. Growing up as I did, in vivid, strange, changeable worlds, I just remember being in love with it all, even with fear. I was the second best tree climber in school at 8 years old. I followed the best tree climber every day in recess and lunch up the great trees in the schoolyard in Trinidad. It isn't competition. He was the best. I knew that. I was afraid, but day after day I went higher and became less afraid. Then I was less afraid than the third best tree climber. The teachers were very Christian in that West Indian way and told the great adventure stories of the Bible. Daniel in the lion's den was a favorite. He was brave, and so was I. His faith didn't matter, but his bravery did. So maybe it was Trinidad then that cut my fragile strings to what my world would become. I cannot say from then to today I have ever really stopped climbing trees. The dare has stood by me and guided me. And justice or goodness to me is the freedom to climb. Not to be seen to climb, to be rewarded for climbing, just climb. For so many out there, somebody must be in charge, provide shelter and assurance. How does this all work and how do I fit? Then one day I might realize that the village is empty and everyone has gone to a single building to sing, to be together, to listen to the wisdom of the elders. As I discovered yesterday, the great church fathers of history, the great dissidents, the rebels, the Martin Luthers, the John Wycliffes, the world changers are all overwhelmingly concerned with being part of this axis of angels. It's the very heart of this religion because they are not the only ones. You see, these religions, an easy confusion. In which of the three sects of the one cult do we believe? That's all we know. Belonging to the club of goodness will get you into heaven. This is the first desire, the passive part. Defending the club, your mission, should you accept it, is the active, heroic part. Yes, and this they do. Build fortresses in the garden where trees do not grow. Protectionism, armor, castles, defense alliances that only threaten. You have no idea how offensive they are, like fences to wild horses. Clinging to dogmas that baptize axes of evil wherever you dare not tread. No idea how your crushing dogmas make me scream for the wounded imagination. What the F are you so afraid of, I'd ask, but why? Without it, maybe you'd feel nothing but to climb. And I wish this freedom on everyone. Though I know now that climbing isn't a universal desire. The next age in Trinidad brought sexual desire, and that was overwhelming too. Something too, that was Trinidad. 7 years after this awakening, I returned to England full-blooded by then and realized Trinidad was not everywhere. I had returned to this other religion, this numbing thing. I was like Tarzan in the mansion of his fathers. By the time of this return to the real world, I had walked in astonished ever since. Whatever would have scared me into a need of God was gone. Also, there was no need for community beyond the obvious one of everyone. No particular kin, but all. Many fathers and mothers. My negotiations were by now all with he and she and me, mostly with me. There were some really tough times early on, terrific alienation and misunderstanding, which I confess I thought was my wilderness. It took a while and a little help to realize it was a garden, the wilderness, full of wonders. If the reader or hearer does not understand these two, the wilderness and the garden, I'd leave now. The language has been lost between us. It is from the garden or the wild place where everything grows that one perceives the concrete world where nothing grows. Lots of building goes on, lots of fortifications, but nothing grows anymore. And history is just the crushing memoir of the loss.